Have you ever looked at someone your age who seems to have it all figured out and thought, what the heck am I doing with my life? Now, I always thought your 20s are supposed to be this exciting, liberating time of self-discovery. And for the most part, they are. But for many of us, it's also a time filled with uncertainty, comparison, pressure, and trying to act like adults while still Googling how to boil rice. And how do I know? Because I'm 32 and I made the exact mistakes I'm about to share with you. Mistake number 1. Thinking your 20s will be the time of your life. Now, we're sold this idea that your 20s are supposed to be non-stop fun, like you're living in a beer ad or in an episode of Friends. But the truth is that for most of us, life in our 20s is just plain and uneventful. Like you're inexperienced, you're broke, you're overwhelmed, and you're trying to untangle the mess of your childhood in your spare time. And yes, there are good moments for sure. Like you do have fun, you've got the freedom, you got friendship, but don't expect it to feel like a movie, because most of the time your 20s feel like a strange mix of chaos, confusion, and constant questioning, and that's okay. That's how it's meant to be. Like you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life while also learning who you are beneath all those layers. So it feels messy and overwhelming, like you're falling behind, but you're actually not. And here's what I want you to remember. Your 20s are not the peak of your life. Your life doesn't end when you turn 30. Your 20s are just the beginning. Mistake number 2, comparing yourself to everyone else. I spent a lot of time in my 20s comparing myself to other people, old classmates, friends on social media, strangers on the internet, and it always felt like everyone else was further ahead, you know? And I think part of that came from the fact that I started university later than most, like pretty much 4 years later after my high school peers. And although I didn't mind being a bit older in uni, like I actually love my entire uni experience. Like I even studied abroad in Australia and I literally made the most out of all the opportunities I was given in uni. But outside of that bubble, the comparison was still there. Like my old classmates had already graduated and they were starting their careers. They were building a life, like buying homes, traveling the world. And meanwhile, I was just kind of beginning. Like I was increasing my student debt. I was barely earning an income and I was eating like the cheapest food that I could find just to stay afloat. And even though I knew I was doing what felt right for me, I just couldn't shake the pressure to prove that I wasn't falling behind, that I wasn't a failure and could catch up. But here's the problem with chasing someone else's timeline. You lose sight of your own. Like when you're constantly trying to measure up to people who started up in different places or at a different time under different circumstances, you pretty much set yourself up to feel like you've never enough. But you're not supposed to be on their path. You're supposed to be on your own. And the day that I stopped measuring my life by what my old classmates were doing and started really focusing on my own progress, my own goals, that's when things changed. So if you feel like you're falling behind, like you're not, you're just doing your life differently. You're doing life in your way. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. Mistake number 3, waiting until you feel ready. If I could take back one mistake, it would be this one: waiting. Waiting for the perfect time. Waiting until I had more money. Waiting until I felt confident, qualified. Like I had all these ideas, all these dreams, things I wanted to build or explore and create. But over and over again, I told myself, I'll start next year. Like I'm too busy right now. I'm too broke. I'm too unsure right now. And as a result, I'd wait until I would feel ready, not realizing that you would never actually feel ready. Like when you're just waiting, nothing will change. Nothing will happen. Like you need to take action, like actual action. You need to take that first step to make progress, to move forward, to feel ready. Like I spent years putting off the things I truly wanted to do because I thought I needed to have it all figured out. But now fast forward 10 years, I'm 32 and life is just actually more complicated, making it even harder to start those ideas and to chase those dreams. And that's something no one actually tells you. No one tells you that life doesn't get easier as you get older. We think it will, but it actually doesn't. And you just get better at navigating the chaos. So here's what I learned. You never feel 100% ready. You just have to take that first step, because that version of you that's living your dream one day, they only exist because you were brave enough to begin. So start before you're ready, start before it makes sense, but most importantly, just start. Mistake number 4. Living for now and not for your future self. When you're in your 20s, it's easy to live day to day, to make decisions based on what feels good right now and not what's good for a version of you 5 years from now. And I totally get it. I did the same. But because of that, I actually ended up wasting a lot of my health in my 20s. Like, I didn't eat well, I partied too much, I drank too often, and I told myself it was all fine, it was all good, because that's what your 20s are for. Right? Like, you're young, you'll bounce back. And that's what I kept telling myself. But the truth is, you don't just bounce back, because what you're really doing in your 20s is teaching yourself how to live. Like the late nights, the skipping meals, the numbing out, those just don't go away, and they become actually your default as an adult. And let me tell you, default mode is hard to rewire. Like, by the time I started trying to undo some of those habits, I felt like I was trying to become an entire new human being, to like turn my entire life upside down. And all because I wasn't thinking beyond the week, the next party, the next excuse. And eventually I realized something that changed how I live. You're not just living for now, but you're actually living for your future self. Every choice you make, what you put in your body, how you take care of your mental space, who you surround yourself with, it's shaping who you are becoming. And it's not in a big dramatic way, but it's in a quiet, kind of subtle way that builds over time until one day they define you. So I started asking myself one small question. What would future me thank me for? And when I started kind of like having this question in the forefront of my mind, I slowly, like my choices slowly started to shift. And not because I became some perfect like version of myself overnight, but because I finally realized that the future me matters too. And she deserved better than I was giving her. Mistake number 5, thinking life has a deadline. If you're in your 20s, chances are you felt the pressure to be someone by a certain age, to hit milestones like clockwork, graduate, get a job, move out, travel, find your purpose, fall in love, get married, buy a house, and have a family. And if you don't, you start feeling like you failed, or like you're running late to a life that everyone else seems to be living. And that's a feeling that I felt constantly. I'd look around and think, I should be further along by now. But by further along, by whose standards actually? We grow up with these invisible timelines wired into us by society, by family, by media, and even by well-meaning friends. We're told that there is a right way to grow up and a right way to grow into adulthood. But here's what I've realized. Life isn't a checklist, and it's definitely not a race. And there's no one path, no universal timeline, because we're all living our own stories, right? With different beginnings, different challenges, and different chapters. Like, some people find their calling at 22 and others at 42. Some fall in love young, others later, or not at all. And some take the scenic routes with detours, rest stops, and complete U-turns. And all of that is okay. But what isn't okay is holding ourselves or each other to standards that were never meant to define us in the first place. Like, we need to let go of the pressure to arrive somewhere by a certain age and instead focus on who we are becoming. Because life isn't about building the perfect resume or hitting society's gold stars of success, such as like money, titles, fame, or external validation. Like, life is about growth, it's about character, and it's about becoming someone you're proud of when no one is watching. So instead of asking, am I successful enough? Try asking, am I kind? Am I honest? Am I showing up for my values? Am I living in alignment with the life that I want to create? And that's the real work. And the truth is, we all need to stop competing, comparing, and conforming conforming and start encouraging each other to break free from outdated timelines. We should explore and experiment and slow down and question and try again. Because when we stop chasing someone else's idea of success, we finally give ourselves permission to build a life that actually feels true. And lastly, mistake number 6, ignoring your finances. Now, I know that this topic isn't the most exciting one, but it's one of the mistakes that I regret the most. Like, I didn't start taking money seriously until I was like 27, 28 years old. And that's when I got my first proper full-time job after finishing university. Like, before that, I was working part-time in a hospital as a health assistant. I was juggling uni and trying to keep myself afloat. So every dollar that I earned back then, it pretty much went straight into rent, groceries, tuition, and the occasional kind of like holiday. But what I do regret is not putting even a little bit aside into a savings or investment account during those early years. Like, I wish I'd started building financial stability sooner, because 27 felt late. Like, by the time I started saving and learning about investing, I realized how much time I'd lost simply because I avoided thinking about money. Like, I thought that I didn't earn enough to bother, that it was just not for me. But here's the truth that I know I've come to realize is that it's never about how much you make. It's not about the actual amount, but it's about how you manage what you do have. Like no one teaches us this stuff in school, but it matters so much, because financial freedom isn't about being rich. It's about having options, right? It's being able to say no to things that don't align, or to take time off without spiraling, or to move countries, change jobs, start something new without drowning in fear. And all these things towards financial freedom, they all start small. Like, it's a few dollars saved, a beginning investment account, a simple budget. And the earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow and the less stress you carry into your 30s. So if you're still putting this off, I do get it, but please don't wait until you feel ready to start thinking about money, about savings and investments. Because even small financial habits and building those financial habits in your 20s, they can literally open big doors down the road. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this gave you something to think about, or at the very least, made you feel a little less alone. If you passed your 20s and you've got some wisdom to share, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've learned. Or if you are in your 20s right now, let me know which of these hit home for you. In any case, good luck navigating this beautifully chaotic decade. Take your time, be kind to yourself, and remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You're just laying the groundwork. I hope to see you in the next one.